Hey guys, it's 7 with Shawn, and just want to recap this weekend's message. And man, we are going through this series called The Gospel According to Abraham, and really we want to keep touching on Abraham's call, how God has called Abraham. And in this passage, Abraham and Lot have to separate because they have too many sheep. They've got too many flocks, too much going on. Their flocks won't support the land. And we learned this, that they got a lot of flocks, they got a lot of money, they became very wealthy because Abraham left his call in Canaan and went to Egypt. And when he was in Egypt, he lied and became very wealthy because of that. And it went bad for him. So he came back to his call. And one of the things about Abraham in this passage is he tells Lot, hey, you can decide if you want to go, if you go to the right, I'll take my flocks to the left. If you go to the left, I'll go to the right, which just sounds like he's being courteous. But the truth is that Abraham is doing something shocking for the readers of that time. Ancient readers would have read that and went, what? He's the patriarch. The patriarch decides. The patriarch always decides what's best. You don't give the younger person the choice. But Abraham had three things he had to manage, three relationships he was managing at once, and he had to let one go. See, he had a relationship with his family. Him and Lot were family, and they were going to, if they didn't split, they were going to break apart. There was going to be strife, familial strife. He had a relationship with his money, his career, his wealth, his well-being, his stability. And see, Canaan was not as fertile as the Jordan River Valley. The Jordan River Valley to this day is one of the leading agricultural centers of the world. It is the leading agricultural center of the Middle East, and it was even more lush 4,000 years ago. The Jordan River was twice as wide, and water was twice as plentiful, and just this incredible area. And Abraham allows Lot to choose the Jordan River Valley, and it affects his bottom line. It affects his wealth, his career, his well-being, all of that. And then the third relationship he had was with God. See, God had given him Canaan and told him he was called to this land. And the logical choice, the business choice, is to go to the Jordan River Valley. But Abraham surrendered his wealth, he surrendered his career, he surrendered that part of his well-being, his relationship for his relationship with God and in Canaan. And in return, Lot got to go wherever to the Jordan River Valley. Now Lot, that was point 2 in the sermon. We talked about Lot. He's making a business decision. And I think a mistake a lot of us make in life, a lot of men make especially, is we say, well, I've got to earn my keep. I've got to be the breadwinner. I've got to make the money, have a good career. And if I do that, I'm taking care of my family so my kids can go to college, I can retire, I can do this, I can do that. And doing that, I'll serve God. Or after I do all those things, I'll serve God. And the truth of the matter is, if that's the way you kind of prioritize money or career, family, God, you've missed the whole boat. You've built your life on the wrong foundation. And likewise, some of you may be like, well, I don't really care about money, but you built your life on your family, and then maybe God, or then your career, and then God. Well, if God is not first, you built your life on the wrong foundation. And C.S. Lewis said it this way, that if you aim for the next life, you get this one with it. But if you aim for just this life, you'll lose both. And another way of putting it is, the sun, if the sun is pointing this way, and God is the sun, we follow the sun. And the shadows that are cast, right, are the things that maybe they're a foretaste of the blessing that God's given us. Money's not a bad thing. That's a foretaste of the riches that God's going to give us in heaven. Our family is not a bad thing. That's a blessing. That's a foretaste of the blessing of community and family you're going to have in heaven. There's a lot of things in life that are shadows of heaven, of the blessing to come. And if you chase the sun, you always get the shadows. They follow you. But if you chase the shadows, you eventually lose the sun. And then you're in darkness and you don't have the shadows either. So my hope for you as you set your priorities in life is that you always put God first. That God is before your family, before your career, before your hobbies, and He's the foundation on which you build all of those other things. And if you honor Him with all of the things that He's given you, you'd be shocked with the blessing you get. Because at the end of the story, God takes Abraham up, and it's there at Bethel and Ai, and it overlooks all the Jordan River Valley and all of Israel, the Promised Land. And He says, you know what, Abraham, because you've surrendered it all, I'm going to give all of this to you and your descendants. And Abraham believed God, and because he surrendered it all, he was blessed. Jesus did the exact same thing. Satan took him on a hill and said, I'll give you the world. I'll give you everything if you bow and worship me. And Jesus said no. Jesus surrendered it all. He surrendered his power, his autonomy, his his control of things, and he laid all those down so you and I could have him. And here's what Philippians 2 told us, that when he did that, God exalted him and gave him the highest name, at which every knee will bow and every tongue will confess, at the feet of Jesus. So think about that. Just as Abraham surrendered, God blessed him. When you chase the sun, you get the shadows with you. When you chase the shadows, you just end up in darkness. Well, I've gone over my time, guys. Go be the church.